Hello and welcome new member of Chris Lombardi Acapella. This video is hopefully going to serve as your one-stop shop for everything that you need to know about joining projects, paying your fees, and making sure that you follow all the rules and guidelines that are associated with our group and help make Chris Lombardi Acapella the best virtual acapella group in existence. So by now you have surely joined our Discord, and you might be a little bit overwhelmed by how many channels and how many projects that we have open right now. But if you haven't joined the Discord yet, all you need to do is go to discord.link/CLA. That's discord.link/CLA. If you don't have a Discord already, you'll have to create an account. But once you create an account, you'll see a screen that looks something like this. Now you can see that we have different channel categories that dictate whether or not a project is closed, whether or not a new project is open. Sometimes we have newbie projects, which are exclusive to only new members. So that's where you'll find all the projects that are open. But say that you're interested in joining one of our projects. The first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to pay your entry fee for the project. Some projects are free, especially ones for newbies, but typically there's a fee associated with every single project entry. So you'll go to paypal.me/CLacapella and you'll enter the project fee and you'll select sending to a friend, which will enable us to avoid some of the PayPal fees. After you've paid, make sure that you note that in the channel that's associated with the project, and then you are officially entered into your first Chris Lombardi Acapella project, and now we're ready to move on to the next step, which is a mic check. So all of our members record their audio for all of our projects using some sort of external microphone. Some people have a Blue Yeti microphone, or maybe a Snowball microphone, or maybe you use a regular SM58 or some kind of vocal microphone with a digital interface. All of that is fine, but you do need to make sure that you're recording with some sort of external microphone and some sort of DAW, some sort of digital audio workstation. Those of you who use Mac will probably have GarageBand. If you have a PC, Audacity is a perfectly free DAW. However, many of our members like to use their own DAWs, such as Logic or Mixcraft or any other DAW that exists out there. So make sure that your microphone is enabled in your DAW. You'll typically have to go to your preferences or your input settings to make sure that your microphone is recognized as the input device in your DAW. For most USB microphones, it will be immediately available. However, if you're using a digital interface, you'll have to select it and make sure that your microphone is plugged into it. For the mic check purposes, all you need to really make sure is that your levels are not too high, that you're not clipping, that it's not too loud, and that you have a nice healthy signal. And you could sing anything that you'd like. It can just be 5 to 10 seconds of any song that you like. I'm not really listening for the quality of the voice here. I'm just listening to the fidelity of the microphone. If I like what I hear, I'll tell you sounds great, you're ready to record. If I don't, I'll give you suggestions on how to make your sound better. Typically, what I'm hearing is people are too far away from their microphones. I'm getting too much room sound, too much reflections, too much reverberation, in which case I'll just suggest that you get closer to your microphone so that you have a nice, clear, crisp sound that we're looking for. After the mic check has been approved, you're pretty much ready to record your audio for the project that you've entered. What will typically happen is within the channel of the song that you've joined, I will either pin materials that you'll need to record to directly into that channel, or for some of our more expensive pieces, what I'll typically do is I'll add your Gmail to a folder so that only members who have paid and have entered that project have access to those materials. And what those materials typically are is the arrangement that we're going to be singing with each part predominant in the mix. So for example, the soprano material that will be posted will be the soprano part sung very loudly with all of the accompanying parts much softer in the mix. The alto part that is posted will be the alto part with all the other ensemble parts much lower in the mix. So what you'll do is you'll take that file, whichever part you choose to sing, and in this group you can sing typically any part that you want unless I give you specific instructions otherwise. You'll bring that file directly into whatever DAW you recorded your mic check in. Whichever DAW is your preference, you'll bring that file directly into your DAW, and all that you'll do is you'll sing along with that exact part. You'll try to match that part as closely as you possibly can. That's what gets us that clear, crisp blending that we're looking for in an acapella project. Now, some of these parts are incredibly complicated, and you might think, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to memorize this, and I'm never going to be able to sing this and have it sound good. But that's not how we operate in Chris Lombardi Acapella. I encourage everybody who's in a project to sing their parts in tiny pieces. As tiny as you need them to be to sing these parts as accurately as you can is perfectly fine. So typically what I do and what my members do is they'll listen to the first part of the song, the first phrase or two, they'll listen to it a few times, and then when they're ready to sing it, they'll punch in and they'll sing just that line. Once you're happy with how just that line sounds, you can move on to the next section of the song. And once you've sung all the parts of the song and you've listened back and you're happy with how everything sounds, then what you can do is you can mute the file that you brought into your DAW and export all of the vocals as one final vocal file, as either an MP3 or a WAV. Now your vocals for this particular project are complete. Everybody has sung to the same track, so we know that they're going to match nicely. With this file, you'll upload this to your Google Drive, and then you'll go to tinyurl.com/CLA subform, and you'll fill out this form letting me know your name, the name of the project, what part you sung, etc., and you'll provide a link to that file that you uploaded into your Google Drive. Make sure that it is shareable so that I can view it and that it's not restricted in any way. We definitely don't want that. And once you hit submit, I will have access to your file. And then at this point, you're basically done for the time being. Once I receive all the audio materials, I typically like to get a rough mix or a mix that's close to finished before we move on to the video portion of our project. However, once we are ready for the video portion, you can go back to the same project channel where the original audio materials were posted. And when we're ready to do video, what you'll typically find is a file that I post that's called Sing to This. It'll be called Song Title Sing to This. And what that will be is either a rough mix of what I have so far or individual stems for each part with clicks in the beginning for us to sing along to when we make our video. Now, most of our members shoot their video on their cell phones. Some people do have DSLR or mirrorless cameras that they like to shoot their videos on. However, most of us are using our phones to film. If you're using your phone to film, make sure you're not using the selfie camera or the front-facing camera. You want to use the camera on the back of the phone as it has a better sensor and is just better overall quality than the selfie camera. Most of our projects require some sort of plain background, either a plain white wall or a plain close to white wall or maybe a black background. And many projects just require you to just have a nice looking background. It can be your living room. It can be any section of your house that's not a disgusting mess. So when you frame yourself for the video, we want to make sure that you are from the belt up. We don't want to be from the neck up. We don't want to be from the chest up. We want to be from the belt up. The reason for this is that if we give all of that room, that gives me way more wiggle room when I compose the video, where if I want to do long strips, I can do long strips. If I want to do little squares, then I can just make you smaller and make you into a little square. So we want to make sure that the framing is always from the belt up. Another thing that we have to make sure that we do is we light our scene, okay? Light is always good with cameras. Typically, bad picture quality is almost always due to lack of light. So if you don't have any lights, if you don't have a studio lights or you don't have a ring light, try to shoot in an area that has as much natural light as possible, and that way we can get the clearest picture possible. And once everything is framed and you're ready to shoot, what you'll do is you'll start your video first, then you'll start the Sing to This track. Now, I need to be able to hear the Sing to This track because of the clicks that are in the beginning. That's what I'm going to match up in the video composition to make sure everybody is synced. So make sure that Sing to This track is playing loudly so that your camera picks up that sound. Now, I want you to sing along with the Sing to This track, but don't worry about how you sound because remember, the audio is already done. The audio is mixed and the audio already sounds great. So it doesn't matter what you sound like in the video. All that matters is that you're singing along to the Sing to This track as accurately as you possibly can. Once you're finished singing, I like for my members to engage with the camera for a good 5 seconds after the song is done. This allows me to do slower, more dramatic fade outs at the very end. What I don't need is I don't need people turning off their camera right as they're singing the last note and kind of wrecking the last scene of the composition. So you need to make sure that you stay engaged with the camera for at least 5 seconds after singing is complete. Once your video is done, you can submit it the same exact way that you submitted your audio, tinyurl.com/CLA subform. Once you've submitted your video, you're essentially done with the project. The only thing there is left to do is wait for the video to drop and make sure we share it like crazy so that as many of our friends and family can see how amazing we are and how hard we've worked. If you have any other questions regarding any part of the process, just go to the Ask an Admin channel and I'm sure they'll get back to you very quickly. Let's make some music.